Very good evening, friends. Meeting again in the session of Materia Medica, and yesterday we have started learning one very important remedy, that is the phosphoric acid or acid phosphoricum. I have shared two cases yesterday for this remedy. Today, I will share a case of a schoolgirl's headache, migraine. It was in adults, we label it by the name of migraine, but same is present in the children. It is either called as schoolgirls or school students headache. So she was a girl having a very typical headache, vertex headache, occipital headache, and it used to happen very severely, along with the pain in eyes. She was the girl who was looking very tall to her age, very tall, very slender, emaciated, narrow chestedness, smart looking like a typical phosphorus skin, very clear cut phosphorus, delicate skin, very typical features were there. And her mother told me, she was just 7 years. Her mother told me that she's tallest in her classroom. It has started since 1 year. She started getting this headache, and we have tried many medicines. We went to pediatrician first, then he referred to the neurologist, a pediatric neurologist. He said that it is migraine like headache, and then he has prescribed certain medicines, but it is not getting settled. Every off and on, she is getting that, and she cannot tolerate even slightest noise, music. Whenever it starts, she says, "Yes, yes, I don't want that." It was very typical that she was sensitive to noise, she was sensitive to music, she was sensitive to least motion, she was sensitive to the any type of movements, and because of which it used to get aggravated. Then I asked, with what, if you are getting severe headache, how do you feel better? She explained that I feel better whenever I lies down completely. My thinking, considering the schoolgirl's headache was going in direction of calcarea pus, silicea, natramor, known remedies for the schoolgirl's headache. These are common remedies for schoolgirl's headache. But constitution was looking very phosphorus, like typical tall, slender, weak, emaciated, narrow-chestedness was very typical of tubercular migraine. So I was thinking, what is this? And I have not considered acid first because generally one thought was fixed in my mind. Acid was debilitated, finished. This is the fixity which develops because of generally when we learn remedy from materia medica point of view and with the thematic things. The themes becomes fixed in our mind. That debility is the characteristic of acid group, and we consider that every patient should be of a debility. And this is what happened. I never thought of acid first. But I was looking toward the phosphorus, and all of a sudden, while going through the phosphorus, I just checked the acid first, and it was very specifically mentioned that it is one more remedy for the school-going children's, school-going girls. So I read whole thing, and the picture was very much matching. She was often on getting the typical muscular pain, the backache, the occipital headache, the vertex headache, and she was getting it because of noise, because of music, because of even disturbance while walking, better by rest. So it was very clearly indicated that the acid first was mentioned. So I have given her acid first 200, 3 doses. And I asked her to meet me after 15 days and just check how many times do you get the headache in between. This was first time I have prescribed acid first for considering schoolgirl's headache. First time. And To my surprise, it worked so beautifully. She never had a single attack in between. Her eye pain was also settled. Her backache was also settled. And she was looking very happy with that. The pressure over vertex has disappeared. And she felt very good. So I have continued with her on placebo only and nothing was given. And I have checked her for next 3 months and she never had a second attack, never required even acid phosphoname and it cured. So this is a remedy where which we make it fixed in our mind that debility. Forget about that debility. See the states which Alan has mentioned. We have discussed certain aspects of phosphoric acid in yesterday's lecture. We were on page number 218. Let us go with the next paragraph, delirium. One paragraph is one state of acid phos. So if you get a case of acid phos, you will get whole story in that paragraph. So how is the delirium of acid phos? The patient is muttering. Muttering means he is talking in just inside his lips without understanding what he is talking, unintelligible. Lies in stupor. Stupor means semi-comatose condition or stupid sleep. He is not aware what is happening surrounding. Unconscious. Unconscious means not conscious about the surrounding. Unconscious of all that is going on around him. When aroused, he is fully conscious. So whenever you arouse that patient comes into consciousness, answer slowly and correctly and relapses again into the same state of stupor. This is the characteristic of acid phosphoricum. So this whole story you can see very commonly in ICU patients. If you would have been called for to look after the ICU patient and if you see this typical picture, then never think of any other remedy. In ICU, you get that debility also very commonly. So you catch that state. Then you if you read Allen's keynotes with very specific states, then you will understand. Next, he says in children and young people who grow too rapidly, their growth is very fast. It is like phosphorus, it is like calcarea, it is like calcarea phos. The pains in back and limbs as if bitten. So there is severe pain in back, severe pain in limbs, and as if someone have bitten them. Very severe pains. The headache, see, state of headache, two paragraphs and whole story of headache comes. We never think that acid phos is the remedy for migraine type of headache. It is crushing weight on vertex. Headache from long-lasting grief or exhausted nerves. Headache in occiput and nape of neck. Headache usually from behind forward. It starts from back, it settles again, it goes up and settles on front. Headache aggravated by least motion, headache aggravated by noise, headache aggravated especially by music, headache is ameliorated by lying down. It looks very close to bryonia. But bryonia, the dryness is very marked. In gelsemium, dull, dizzy, drowsy state is very marked with thirstlessness. Cilicia, most chilly patient having occipital headache. Headache of schoolgirls from eye strain or overuse of eyes like calcarea phos, like natremure. Eye strain, you can think of Ruta also. Ruta is one more remedy which you can think. Headache of students who are growing too fast. So you can get the again one more feature that students who are growing too fast. The fast growth is characteristic of this remedy. It is phosphorus. Interstitial inflammation of the bones. See here in this paragraph, you get the miasmatic focus that all miasms, how they comes together. Interstitial inflammation of bones, syphilitic miasm, scrofulous psychotic, syphilitic mercurial, periosteum is inflamed, again syphilitic, pains are burning, tearing as if scraped with knife, very typical features of Rustox like psoric miasm, caries and rachitis, caries of bones, rachitis, the brittle bones, but not necrosis, growing pains. So see, the whole pathology revolves around all three miasms where dominance of psychosyphilitic miasm is more marked, more going towards the tubercular phase, cancer phase, or very clearly the psychotic and syphilitic dominance over the soli. Boring, drawing, the type of pain, see, boring, drawing, digging pains in the nerves of extremity. Necrosis in a stump after amputation. This is one more feature one has to understand. Allium Sipa is wonderful remedy in such types of cases. I have shared a case when I have taught the Allium Sipa, but this is one more. So whenever the leg is removed, amputation is done, specifically in gangrenous cases, in such types of cases, if neuralgia remains persistent after amputation in the remaining stump means remaining part of the leg, then first remedy you must think of allium sipa definitely. Second is acid first. This is wonderful remedy. One must think because it is if you would have removed that leg from such a pathology that there was a osteomyelitis, there was syphilitic involvement, then you can think about this one more remedy, acid first for such a condition. Diarrhea. Diarrhea is characteristic. Here there was one question asked by one of student and why that was his question. Diarrhea is painless. Diarrhea not debilitating. That's what he has asked. He said that acid, the debilitated persons are there and why diarrhea is there and patient is not debilitated. This diarrhea is a discharge. Generally, this diarrhea is the result of something, some toxins are throwing away and because of which patient is improving. Because of which debility never develops. So diarrhea, painless, it is not debilitating, white or yellow, watery from acids, diarrhea involuntary with flatus like aloes and natremure, diarrhea choleric like a cholera. It looks like a cholera but not choleric. It looks like a cholera. They are diarrhea from period. So diarrhea of the phosphoric acid is of a more soric nature. It is not a syphilitic. It is not debilitating. It is not causing a trouble to the patient. So it is of a soric variety diarrhea which you can get in phosphoric acid. Urine is looks like milk mixed with jelly like bloody pieces. Urine decomposes rapidly. Profuse urination at night of clear water urine indication of a diabetes, which forms a white cloud at once. And last sentence, which is very important, indicates the pathological general of this remedy. Phosphates in excess, nerve becomes waste. So there are many phosphatic crystals you can get in urine. Urine, where when you can think of this remedy, it's whenever the diabetes with nephropathy. One must think about this remedy. One more remedy I have discussed with you, diabetes with nephropathy, diabetes with hypertension, is uranium nitricum. But here you get more debility, specifically when it is acid first. Onanism. What is the meaning of onanism? Onanism is nothing but the masturbation tendency. There are two meanings mentioned over there. One is onanism means masturbation. Another is coitus interruptus is also called as onanism, but this is masturbation tendency. Onanism, when patient is greatly distressed by the culpability of the act. Culpability means there is a fault, doshasna, fault is culpability. So there is a guilt in those patients and they feel that if they cannot perform, they know that there is a problem of impotency. And because of which they never go for keeping the contacts, but they are happy only with the masturbation, and that is the tendency in them. So compare diaspora and staphysagria, which are mentioned over there. Nerve waste means wasting of the nerves. Nerves getting wasting. They are getting degenerated. That is nerve waste. What he has mentioned. Emissions. Emissions means seminal emissions, which are frequent, which are profuse, which are debilitating. So debility because of seminal emissions. Emissions after coitus. Emissions with most desire after. Emissions several in one night. Abashed. Abashed means it is a shame feeling because of doing some wrong thing. That is abashed. आपण केलेल्या गोष्टींमुळे लज्जित झालेला, भांबावलेला. That is abashed. Abashed means it is a shame which develops inside the mind because of doing something wrong. Emissions, abashed, sad, despair of cure. So because of this impotency, he goes into the despair state. He considers that he will not going to get cured from his problem. And if it is associated emissions with irresistible tendency to the masturbate, one remedy you should not forget is Ashtilago. This is very important remedy for that. Then we are coming to the conclusion of this remedy, concluding part, the chest, weak from talking and or coughing. So patient feels weak in the chest whenever he talks, whenever he coughs, like it looks like sternum. Chest enthesis, tuberculosis. Chest with nervous from loss of vital fluids to rapid growth and depressing mental emotion. So chest complaints with the depression of mental emotion. This is again very important thing which he has mentioned over there. Cerebral typhoid and typhus. So see, very important feature which he is mentioning over there, cerebral typhoid, the typhoid going into the brain, producing its lesions over there, cerebral typhoid or typhus. Complete apathy and stupor. Patient is not able to talk. He apathy, absolute loss of voice, loss of talking, and stupor. Patient goes into stuporous condition. Takes no notice, lies like a log, utterly regardless of surrounding. So in a stuporous condition, is absolutely in drowsy state. He is not aware what is going around. It is as if he is dead. So this is very typical. Lies like a log, utterly regardless of surrounding. Intestinal hemorrhage, blood is dark. Intestinal hemorrhage in typhoid. Typhoid is an enteric fever. The ulcers are there, and if they bleeds, the bleeding is very typical. It is dark colored blood. And with such a debility, with such a stuporous condition, where the cerebrum is at its fault, cerebrum gets affected, then think about the phosphoric acid. It is very important remedy. One more remedy where such type of debility, even patients' joy is hanging down. It is like, that remedy we have discussed is picric acid. This is phosphoric acid. Generally, it is associated with more diabetes. Reactions compare the phosphorus, pulsatilla, picric acid, silica, muriatic acid. It is not picric acid. I have wrongly mentioned the picric. It is muriatic acid. Sorry.
Theoretic acid.
Yes, it is muriatic. It was just a wrong thought came into my mind. Phosphorus, pulsatilla, picric acid, silicia, muriatic acid in typhoid. Then nitricus spirituous dulcis. This is the in apathetic stupor and delirium. This remedy is not well proved remedy, so that I have not used. Phosphoric acid acts well before and after cinchona in colliquative way. Qualitative means sweat which is capable of liquefaction. Sometimes it looks hard, sometimes it is as if something salty things coming up, and they goes into again into a liquefaction. Such type of sweating which you can get in phosphoric acid before or after syncona, you can use qualitative sweats, then even in diarrhea, even in debility. Phosphoric acid after nux vomica in fainting after a meal. If the patient faints after meal, after nux, you can think about the phosphoric acid. This is one more important thing which he has mentioned. Aggravation. So modalities: aggravation from mental affection, aggravation from loss of vital fluids, aggravation especially the seminal emissions, aggravation from self-abuse, aggravation from sexual excesses, aggravation. Talking causes weakness in the chest. So there is a severe weakness in chest because of talking. So much weakness, like sternum metallicum. Sternum gets afraid of talking because they feel so weak inside their chest. They never talks, they never speaks. That is the sternum metallicum. So this remedy has a big depth. We have to understand its paragraphs, the states which are mentioned in the paragraphs in Allen's. Whenever you read the Allen, always try to read the paragraphs. Those paragraphs are nothing but one by one the states which happens to be there in that remedy. And that's why Allen has its own importance. So we have finished one more remedy from third year syllabus. Tomorrow we'll continue with our series, the next remedy, whatever it may be. So be there. If any queries are there, we can have a talk. Otherwise, we'll conclude and we'll meet tomorrow. And to all of you, very happy Ashadi Ekadashi. So I think you are still in fast. So we'll have a little bit early break today. And good night.
Thank you very much, sir. Good night, sir.
Thank you. Good night, sir.